Caracas was alive with tension as President Nicolás Maduro addressed a sea of red-clad supporters. He thundered, "Venezuela will not accept a slave's peace," echoing the revolutionary defiance of Hugo Chavez. This was more than rhetoric, it was a direct challenge to mounting U.S. pressure. The Trump administration had labeled Maduro's government illegitimate, threatening all options, even military force. The crowd cheered, but anxiety simmered beneath the surface. Maduro framed the crisis as a battle for dignity and sovereignty, not just politics. He painted the U.S. as an imperialist power, vowing Venezuela would never bow to foreign dictates. For his loyalists, this was a fight against a long history of American intervention. The phrase, "slave's peace," struck a nerve, conjuring images of surrender and humiliation. Maduro insisted only a peace with sovereignty would be acceptable, a solution chosen by Venezuelans, not imposed from abroad. Critics saw this as a distraction from the country's economic collapse and mass exodus. Yet for many in Caracas, his words offered purpose and unity against a common enemy. The stakes, as Maduro presented them, were nothing less than the nation's survival. Even as Venezuela crumbled, the rallying cry was clear dignity over submission. Washington's rhetoric grew sharper with U.S. officials declaring all options open for Venezuela. Sanctions tightened, aiming to choke off Maduro's resources and force regime collapse. The U.S. recognized opposition leader Juan Guaidó, isolating Maduro internationally. Aid convoys at the Colombian border became a flashpoint, with Maduro's government calling them a Trojan horse for invasion. The standoff over aid symbolized the larger battle of narratives: humanitarian rescue versus colonial conquest. U.S. military posturing increased, with Southern Command boosting its presence and rumors swirling of regional coordination. For Venezuelans, the question became not if, but when intervention might come. Memories of past U.S. interventions in Latin America fueled both hope and fear. The threat of invasion polarized the country, emboldening the opposition, but also letting Maduro rally nationalists. Every move from Washington was scrutinized, every rumor magnified, as the specter of war loomed. The environment was volatile, with both sides bracing for a conflict that felt increasingly inevitable. In this tense standoff, the fate of Venezuela hung in the balance. The Simón Bolívar Bridge between Venezuela and Colombia is a lifeline for thousands fleeing crisis. Each day, desperate Venezuelans cross in search of food, medicine, or escape from chaos. Maria, a mother of two, walked for hours just to buy rice and painkillers. "We live in constant fear," she whispered. Colombian soldiers and Venezuelan guards patrol the bridge, a stark reminder of the crisis's international stakes. The bridge was the site of violent clashes when Maduro's forces blocked U.S.-backed aid, leaving burned trucks as grim markers. Conversations here revolve around the possibility of U.S. intervention. Carlos, a young man leaving Venezuela for good, said, "If it takes an invasion to get rid of Maduro, so be it." For many, desperation outweighs fear of war, but others, like Rafael, a former teacher, dread the violence intervention could bring. "Look at Iraq, look at Libya, is that our future?" The people crossing are not just statistics. They're individuals facing impossible choices. They're trapped between a government they distrust and a foreign intervention they fear. The bridge is more than a crossing. It's a symbol of a nation at a breaking point. Every step across is a gamble with the unknown. The crisis is personal, immediate, and inescapable for those on the move. The world debates Venezuela's fate, but here, survival is the only priority. The bridge stands as a testament to resilience and to the cost of political deadlock. Inside Venezuela, rumors and uncertainty rule daily life. State media broadcasts unity against U.S. aggression, but on the streets, people turn to social media and whispers for the truth. Every new sanction or cryptic U.S. statement sparks panic and speculation. Talk of invasion dates and troop movements spreads like wildfire, fueling anxiety. The government airs programs on preparing for war, urging citizens to be ready for anything. Rumors swirl about military defections, but the top brass remains publicly loyal to Maduro. The population lives in a state of high alert, stockpiling what little they can. The psychological toll is immense. Families worry about both hunger and bombs. Shopkeepers debate whether to open, fearing looting or violence. The threat of war compounds the trauma of economic collapse. Venezuela is suspended between a harsh present and an uncertain future, waiting for the next crisis to unfold. The nation holds its breath, bracing for whatever comes next. Maduro drew a stark line: peace with sovereignty or a slave's peace dictated by foreign powers. For his government, the crisis is about defending national independence, not just democracy. They see U.S. actions as a bid to control Venezuela's oil and crush a political movement challenging American dominance. The slave's peace means surrendering to foreign interests. Peace with sovereignty means Venezuelans decide their own fate. The government invokes Latin America's history of U.S.-backed coups as a warning. Dialogue is offered, but only on Maduro's terms, unacceptable to the opposition and its allies. This deadlock leaves ordinary Venezuelans desperate for peace, but wary of its cost. Sovereignty is a source of pride, but many fear a U.S.-imposed solution would swap one set of problems for another. The people are trapped between a humiliating peace and a war they cannot afford. The ideological clash leaves the nation paralyzed, searching for a way forward. Facing threats, Venezuela's military is on high alert. Maduro oversees public drills, tanks in the streets, jets overhead, projecting strength to deter the U.S. The official line: the armed forces will defend every inch of the country. Troops and anti-aircraft systems are deployed to key sites, signaling readiness for conventional war. But behind the scenes, military planners know a direct fight with the U.S. would be disastrous. Instead, they prepare for asymmetrical warfare, guerrilla tactics, sabotage, and urban combat. The goal: make any occupation costly and unsustainable for Washington. The government bets Americans have no appetite for another drawn-out conflict. Venezuela's strategy is twofold: show strength, but prepare for a long grinding resistance if deterrence fails. The military's resolve is both a warning and a gamble. The message: invasion will not be easy or quick. Venezuela's defense plan goes beyond the regular army. The Bolivarian militia, over 1 million strong by government count, trains civilians to resist invasion. These militias, made up of everyday people, are tasked with turning neighborhoods into battlegrounds. Their mission: ambushes, sabotage, and guerrilla attacks to bog down any occupier. Colectivos, armed pro-government gangs, add another layer, blurring lines between militia and paramilitary. This strategy risks unleashing uncontrollable violence, possibly sparking civil war. The government hopes the threat of chaos will deter intervention. The message to the U.S.: any invasion will trigger a brutal, unpredictable conflict. Venezuela prepares for a shadow war it hopes never comes. The threat of U.S. intervention has split Venezuelan society. For some, especially the opposition, foreign military action is seen as the only hope for change. Years of failed protests and elections have left them desperate, willing to risk chaos for a chance at a new start. Others, even critics of Maduro, fear war more than dictatorship. They've seen the devastation in Iraq and Libya and dread similar destruction at home. A young student put it simply: "I don't support Maduro, but I don't want bombs falling on my city." Most Venezuelans are caught in the middle, longing for change, but terrified of the cost. The debate is deeply personal, dividing families and friends. Do you endure slow collapse or risk violent upheaval? There are no easy answers, only impossible choices. The nation waits, uncertain and anxious, for a future it cannot predict. The stakes are nothing less than survival. As night falls in Caracas, anxiety replaces the day's political theater. For ordinary people, the crisis means constant uncertainty about food, power, and the threat of war. The human cost is immense: doctors without medicine, teachers with hungry students, families torn apart by migration. The looming threat of conflict adds another layer of trauma. Reliable reporting is crucial, but propaganda and misinformation cloud the truth. Both government and opposition wage an information war, shaping global perceptions. Journalists strive to cut through the noise, telling the real stories of those caught in the crossfire. The path forward is unclear, negotiation seems distant, intervention perilous, the status quo unsustainable. Venezuela's fate will be decided not in foreign capitals, but on its own streets. As the world watches, the responsibility to report with empathy and clarity has never been greater.